Well, hello everyone. Welcome to How to Be the Parent That Your Teenager Needs You to Be, where each week we share ideas and strategies for empowering your teenager to be their absolute best. Well, this week we tackle the topic of confidence. How can you teach your teenager to be more confident or help your teenager develop confidence? Well, today we got a great story for you that I think will help move you down that path. So let's get started. Well, hello again, everyone. My name is Jim White, and I'm an author, coach, and the founder of the Family Enrichment Academy. And I'd like to welcome you to today's episode of How to Be the Parent That Your Teenager Needs You to Be. And today we're going to be talking about the topic of confidence and how to help your teenager to develop confidence. Before we dive in, though, I just wanted to encourage you to stick around to the end. I have a free resource for you. It's 10 questions you should never ask your teenager. Think of these as like conversation killers. And at the end of today's video, I'll share a little bit more about these questions as well as how to get those, how you can download them. Again, it's a free resource. So back to our topic for today. Today we're talking about helping your teenager with confidence. And I've got a great story to share with you today that's an example of how you could do just that. And this involves a good friend of mine, and it's something that she did. This was a mother that I think really sets the example or sets a tone for how you could help your teen build confidence. So let me back up a little bit. So this process started actually a couple of years ago now. There is a local charity that we have in the area where I live. It's called Meals on Wheels, and each year they have a fundraising event. It's called Dancing with Our Stars. It's sort of a takeoff of the movie or of the TV show Dancing with Our Stars. And the premise is that each year they have 10 volunteers from the community that work with professional dancers, just like on the TV show, and they develop over a 3 or 4 month period. They work on a dance routine. But again, the premise is that they bring friends and family to this show, if you will, and they try to raise money on their behalf as they put on this show. And so this particular friend of ours attended this show like 2 years ago. And as you can imagine, the people that do this, that participate, it's a big stretch for them. It's uncomfortable, if you will. And she was intrigued. She was interested in the process, and she had, it's kind of like she felt like she wanted to do it, but it's a big step to take. So she came back a second year, watched the show again, and again was very intrigued and just felt like she wanted to do it. So she did. She actually stood up and in effect volunteered to be a participant and to be a dancer the next year. And this was well outside her comfort zone, as you can imagine. Put yourself in this position. Would you do something like this? This is stepping outside that comfort zone. So the next year comes around, she gets paired with her professional dancer, they start working on their routine, and the show was just actually a few weeks ago, which is what kind of brought this up for me. And she's working and building towards being able to dance on this particular evening at this fundraiser. So now you may be saying, well, how does this relate to helping a teenager build confidence? This is all about setting an example or modeling the behavior. And the really fun part of this story is, so the night of the event comes, and we're there as well in support of her. And all of her children were there as well. Now I want you to think about this. This is her children sitting there, of which her oldest one now is a teenager. He's like 13 years old now. And they're sitting there, and they know that their mother is getting ready to step onto that stage and do something that she's uncomfortable with, something that she was a stretch for her. And they're going to watch and support her in this process. And it was, what I found fascinating was watching the kids as their mother walked out onto that stage. And then as she was going through and doing the dance, which she did, it was awesome. It was a big breakthrough, if you will, for her. But watching her children and seeing them sort of observing their mother taking this chance and stepping out of her comfort zone, and in effect displaying confidence. That's what she was doing. This was not something she was comfortable with, but she was confident enough to step into that possibility. And she displayed that for her kids, and they saw her be successful by stepping into that. She was able to be successful, have a great experience, and have a new experience that she can take with her for the rest of her life. So again, this is all about modeling or demonstrating to your children what confidence is and what it looks like to step into something that you're uncomfortable with. So anyway, I just thought this was a great example. And again, I just can't tell you how fascinating it was to watch her children watch her as she was out on that dance floor. And then after the fact, you could just see how proud her children were of her and her doing that. And so again, and if you think about it later on, if that child's struggling with a little confidence, she now has that to refer back to, right? She can say, "You remember when I did the dance fundraiser and you came and saw me? I mean, that was uncomfortable for me." She can have some empathy, and they have that experience, and the child was there. They saw it. So again, it's a great point of reference that she can bring back up to help to empower that child later on to move them forward. So anyway, felt like it was just a great story about how to help your teenager develop confidence, and it's by modeling that behavior. So something to think about. So what would be a stretch for you? Is there something you've thought about, and especially something you could do as a family that would be a little bit of a stretch, where you could step into something that's maybe a little bit uncomfortable and demonstrate that confidence for your child? Just something to think about, and I would highly recommend that you see if you can find a way to do that. So anyway, that's the end of today. Hopefully you found value in that story. Again, back to those 10 questions that you should never ask your teenager. So I have those as a free resource, but I also have 10 great questions. Think of these as like conversation starters. And part of the premise is that, one of the biggest challenges I hear from parents is the idea that their teen won't talk to them, or they won't open up. Well, a lot of it has to do with the kinds of questions that you're asking. So these questions are intended to give you a framework and a place to start so you can ask some better questions and get your teenager to open up a little bit. So check them out. There's a link down below. You can go to that link, download it, and be able to get that free resource. So there you have it. One of the best ways to teach confidence to your teenager is to model the behavior yourself. So on behalf of your teenager and our community, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and your commitment to being a better parent. And it's in that spirit I'd like to invite you to connect with our community. We are a community of parents just like you that all are trying to grow and develop and learn so that we can empower our teenagers to be their absolute best and in effect transform our families. And we'd love to have you as part of our community. Until next time, remember, a change in perspective changes everything.